Hey everybody, it's the last Robo-Kai here, and it's time for more Fate Samurai Remnant. And last time we started the end game, which is always a really funny thing to say, but it really is kind of like an end game because Chiemon's got he's got the Waxing Moon Vessel, he's got Kaya, and that also means that he's got Saber's wife, which I think is actually the reason why he has Kaya, and he is hell bent on causing a whole lot of trouble, and obviously that trouble is going to be directed at Edo itself. And so joining me is Cool Guy.
Yo yo!
We're going to be heading in, and this is a relatively shorter episode than most of the other ones we've done, mostly because this is very much going to be a font war, like a very long one, and once we get to the end of that, it would just be like another hour of stuff, so I've broken it up a little. You're welcome. This is going to be like Fate Chat. There's a couple of things we haven't really discussed yet, so we're going to take advantage of it during this, so let's get stuck straight in.
Iori! Iori! Iori, 起きよ!
5 more minutes, Mom.
かよ
かどわかされた。英月の器も奪われた。
Still laughing about how chill Chiemon was when he just sort of stepped around Saber. He was just like, yeah, no, it's cool, don't worry about it.
何のために
He sort of has these wonderful moments of calm and
かよはい
rage.
ずこにいるおのれチエモン
そうじゃランサーに知恵門の仕業じゃ書に過ぎぬ我が身が恨めしい
Gramps has bet has his really cool moments stolen from him
また
too.
も奇襲をかけてきよったセーバーは抗おうとしたが
おのれ
Look, like y'all were definitely set up to fail there. Like, you still failed, but you were set up for that one. How about you give yourself a break?
Yeah, they fought Ushigozen, then Iori like one-on-one a servant. Like, excuse me? No wonder he was fucking exhausted when he got slammed with one of like Lance's attacks. Again, hit by a servant
マスターを
attack.
落とすのが狙いかと以前は思ったがもしやカヤに何かあるのか
Gee whiz, Iori. Can't fucking imagine.
司祭まではわからん
Really? For some reason, I had it in my head that Saber had talked about this a little bit, but I guess
No, this is
it makes
this
sense
is all very covered up.
yeah.
あれを見るのじゃよ
I guess that makes sense that they
に
haven't.
覆われた空と
江戸城
And yes, of course. Where else would he go but the seat of all of his hatred?
霊脈の合流地であり
And the absolute middle point of where all the ley lines flow.
守りの要英月を掲げるに最もふさわしき場所よ
あの汚れに覆われた城に奴らがいるか
So in terms of like less
Don't
players,
let the shogunate hear you call it that.
well, I mean, like I was about to say, you gotta remember, like we visited this castle before in Let's Plays, and you didn't like it. There was a lot of poo. You hated it.
Yeah, no, like I remember it. It's just I didn't say that that Saber was wrong. I said don't let the shogunate hear you say that.
I don't know. We don't even know if the shogun's there, if the shogun's run away, or what's going wrong there, because we won't be encountering any shoguns there. By the time we get there, everything is well truly fucked.
の儀の達成にはまだ時がかかると見たぞ安全の体制を整えよ
So yeah, we got one last fight.
立ち向かえ
But we do have like a slight little digression to have just before we go and do it though.
Oh, fun.
必ず成し遂げるとも
It's not a long
カヤ
one.
を必ず助けるチエモンは殺す
Everybody's been sort of hoping that Chiemon just sort of succumbs to whatever horrific injuries he's clearly been toting around this whole time anyway.
He's the living definition of hate. Let me tell you how much I have come to hate.
If you hadn't gone over the I have no mouth reference, I would have.
The The man is too full of desire to murder to die, and of course we're gonna slap the old man on when we assault the
Hell
enemy.
yeah.
So we haven't had a chance to show him off yet. He would not help us fight Shisetsu. He probably would have helped us fight Ushigozen, but like it doesn't matter. Rogue Saber joins the fight pretty quickly anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say like at least in this playthrough where Rogue Saber is alive, makes a hell of a lot more sense to just have the dude who's literally there to accomplish this one specific task.
あの時私がチエモンを止めていればこのようなことには。
カヤを救い義を止める。俺たち
They both just like really bummed out that they couldn't protect her.
I mean the entire thing with Chiemon is sort of a object model in when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Like he shows up and he's like, I hate everything. I'm going to kill everybody, and there is nothing you can do to dissuade me from this course. And everybody's just sort of like, I'm sure I can handle you later. Like, probably like that declaration of purpose should probably have caused a little bit more consternation among everybody.
ああ、そこが肝心なところであろう。
We got ourselves a branch with a very intricate message on it. Well, not intricate, but like very intricately folded piece of paper. Very old-fashioned.
いいか聞いて驚け。そういったな。
So yeah, Rogue Saber's journey is finished. He has slain his foe, and we sort of saw in the aftermath his body was starting to dissipate as well. So presumably he held off long enough to leave this message for us, and then he has vanished. It's kind of funny because like when I checked like on like a Fate wiki thing about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, he was too far away from his ley line and died and like vanished." I was like, No.
Which ley line was that precisely?
He literally tells you he's not attached to the ley lines, so
yeah, that was my memory as well.
And I'm too lazy to like get an account and go and like get into like a wiki fight with somebody, so it's just like I don't know if they fixed it yet either. If someone else has like read it and fixed it.
If it has been up for more than a week or two, it's probably never gonna get fixed. I remember at one point of like I had a similar sort of thing with like an extremely old wiki. Like it was the Venture Brothers wiki, because I was listening to it in the background and I wanted to look up some minutiae about a character or two, and I found like 3 or 4 statements that were just plain wrong. And it's just like, when did this happen? And so I signed up. I did that entire song and dance. Where I'm just like, citation needed, bruh. And the admins and moderators like woke up from having not done anything for 3 to 4 months and said, "Shut up." All right.
Yep.
Thanks.
どれアッキは倒れ使命も果たされた。我が太刀で切り捨てられなんだは無念だが。
立つべきが立たれたならばそれでよい。貴殿らには再び礼を言わねばならぬ。返礼の品としてこのこしらえを残してゆく。つまらぬものだが何かの役には立つだろう。最後に一つ伝える。悪しき鬼を打ち滅ぼす。それが我が使命。こたびの限界の宿願であった。だが夢忘れるな。
That's why I've always referred to this one as the evil ogre.
Mm-hmm. There's a very important reason for why he feels that way.
悪鬼とは悪心である。世を乱す悪足らんとする心こそが鬼であれ人であれ悪鬼と化して衆生を貪る。
故に主情を愛し正しきを貫くべし
Because Tomoe, his wife, was
Yeah.
an ogre. She was an Oni.
形見に加えて訓戒まで残してい
And
くとは
in Fate Grand Order, Chaldea has no small number of them actually in a variety of different
最後まで
forms.
義理堅いやつめ
Most famous, of course, being
実
Shuten
は
Doji.
相当な世話焼きと見たぞ
Well, interestingly enough, this is where we can sort of seek into Minamoto no Raiko and discussion of her artist. Because this is like a 6 Degrees of Time Warriors thing.
Ha!
The artist for quite a few characters in Fate Grand Order, but most importantly of Raiko, is an artist by the name of Raita. That is there's their nom de guerre, as it were, and you'll know them as the one who did all the character concept art for the Valkyria Chronicles games.
Oh shit! No joke.
Yeah, and so you can see that like he's perfectly capable of drawing like very sort of normal proportions, well detailed characters, and then of course when he's given free reign, like the most, you know,
道のりは険しい
obvious example is the Valkyrie character of the first game on the evil Empire faction.
I forget her name because they're all magical girls to me, but like her face is very and proportions are very vivid in my mind.
Yes, her Raiko no Minamoto is like those proportions on steroids.
Ha!
It's really kind of funny. Raita draws all Raita has drawn a lot of characters. Like Shuten Doji is also one of his, and Shuten Doji, like I will definitely show you Shuten Doji in our Guest the Servant thing, because you're gonna be like, I'm sorry, what?
Ha! That sounds right. I was just complaining to a mutual friend of ours about that upcoming feature because I'm absolutely convinced I'm gonna get my ass kicked on it just because I have that weird tendency to understand everything in the worst way possible. Like the whole situation with the William Tell guest that we did.
That was so funny.
I was absolutely stunned that I managed to properly guess that because the entire time I was just like, is he talking like what time period is he talking about? What culture base is he talking about? If we're talking about Greek, like then you have Odysseus. If you're talking about more contemporary America, then you have William Tell. If you're talking about Japanese or Chinese, like you have another two or three potentials there, and it's just like I was sweating that whole time.
Yeah, I put you on the
It's
spot.
totally gonna happen,
and you nailed it
like,
first go spectacularly.
Well, lucky. Like I'm calling that one more luck than skill. Like it's skill when I managed to, you know, like actually process, look over it, and check my assumptions. Beyond that, I'm making a bunch of assumptions, and that's all down to luck.
Yeah, well, in that particular case, one of the most important things to remember is that in that discussion we were talking about how essentially the noble phantasm that was being fired at them was described as being based on a moral play, as in it was seek to reach a conclusion. It was a story. It would play out. It would end with the sinking of a vessel, and as a result, because of it, it would do everything it can to not deviate from it. So if you were going to go up against that, you would need something similar. And that's exactly what the story of William Tell is. It's a story that a moral story that has a defined result. A very well-known defined result. So if you were going to pick a fight with someone, you would definitely use like that. You would definitely use William Tell. And that's why nobody, not even Gilgamesh, was like, no way, I'll do it. They all just looked at it and went, yeah, nah, the old man's got it. Yeah, like this dude's got it. But yeah, so like Raita also has like quite a few like male servants under his belt as well, and the designs on those are fantastic. Like he's the artist for Kintoki. His take on Kintoki is fucking amazing. It's like one of my favorites. I've never actually gotten Kintoki in my Chaldea, but it's so good. He's just goddamn fantastic, and He's got this belt buckle that just has gold on it, and he smokes a cigar. Even if we don't do that in like the thing, I'll definitely show you him. He's also the artist for Moriarty, and holy shit, that's like one of my favorite arts for like any character. Is like his depiction of Moriarty. Yeah.
I might go look that up real quick. That's in Fate Grand Order, right?
Oh, I will. No, it's going to be part of the guessing game. Don't you look it up.
Oh, okay. I won't do it then.
No, I'm gonna subject you to like.
Look,
there's going to be a lot.
It's about to become relevant.
There's going to be a lot of writer. Okay. In fact,
all right.
Like this isn't even the last writer character. There is a writer character is going to be in the first DLC.
Fantastic.
So naturally, Ushigozen was added to Fate Grand Order at the beginning of 2024 in the collaboration between Fate Grand Order and Fate Samurai Remnant, and she was added as an Avenger, and which is slightly different. And the story they go with is kind of interesting. Both she's added as Avenger, and Shosetsu is added as a caster, and. It's pretty interesting, but yes, Raita still does the art for her there. I will say the character artists for this game did a pretty good job of they did a really good job of sort of still fitting the design and theme and everything in with the general art style that everybody has for this game, whilst still making it very much seem quintessentially Raita. He's just got that style. He really likes the waif-like frames, and if you let him do it, he will.
I mean,
there are jokes about how dangerous the man is.
you've got to hand it to them in the sense of, I shouldn't have had that many reasons for being able to pick out Li Shuen, but the reason I was able to was because of his clothing and his uniform. Beyond that, there was very little that I feel like I could have hooked onto, but they did that perfectly.
Yeah, character design is always pretty good. There are some instances where you're like, who the hell is that? And then when they tell you, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I
guess that makes sense.
But it is kind of begrudging.
Begrudging is I think going to be very much how I roll on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, so this is a massive battle. And the other thing we probably should mention, actually, before it gets too far away, is our new Valor Strike that Iori can do now, and how it looked and sounded pretty fucking crazy when he did it to Masashi. And this is an actual thing from the franchise. This is something that right here. This is something that Kojiro does in.
I don't know that I commented on this this initially when he did it the first time, but it just struck me again. When he does that particular strike, it's really important to watch his hand, because he is in fact he's using both of his swords with one hand. He grasps the top sword with his index and middle finger, and his bottom sword with his ring and fourth finger. And it's just like there. I feel like it's important to have an appreciation for the level of training and just very specific effort that would have to go into training your fingers to pull that off.
Even more to the point, so the way they describe this is when Sasuke Kojiro is summoned in Fate Stay Night, it's kind of a weird scenario. And he's more phantom than he is actual servant, and so he's not even really the true Kojiro, but more something that the throne just sort of grasped at. And it was a person who apparently just sought to perfect one singular move, and that was a swing of the sword that could take a swallow down in flight, which is yeah. And the thing is, this guy who just did this to do this, who learned this, ended up developing a sword technique that could do that. And in the process of doing that, physically came closer to performing an act of true magic than, like, a lot of mages will do trying to perform fucking magic. Like, he... And the entire point of the move is that what it's doing is essentially the opposite of what Musashi is doing. Musashi is seeking the void. She's seeking the result of the swing of the sword where there are no possibilities, just the sword and the defeat. Whereas the attack that the Noble Phantasm that Kojiro uses, the Tsubame Geishi, that is all possibilities covered. So basically the idea is that basically it is a sword stroke that covers every single possible angle. Hence you can sort of see it's swings coming from multiple different directions. The optimal positioning for these sword strokes happening simultaneously from one sword, and a fucking massive sword too. If you remember, like, Kojiro has a fucking gigantic sword. That's extremely
like, even for a
long.
Daikatana, it's a giant sword. That was his entire thing historically as well. Like, it was one of the reasons why Musashi played so many mind games with him.
Yeah, and it's also like when they fought, Kojiro threw his sheath to the side, and Musashi got in his head and was like, "Well, you just lost. You just lost, bro. You just, you've lost. You're not gonna sheath your sword afterwards. But you're stupid. Like, you're gonna walk back and collect it. Nah, you just gave up." And so, to put that into perspective, the Kojiro of this setting is actually Kojiro, and so it's kind of a bit weird, but yeah, he's able to do that as well. There is like another version of Kojiro as well that Musashi faces in the Shimosa thing, who is also able to do that. So there obviously is a Kojiro of sorts. Am I gonna send? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Saber Intercept. I forgot you can do that.
Yeah, I can just send Saber to do it, and I can actually, if I've got Earth Arts, I can also just flash Iori over and fight the other guy as well.
You used your Earth Arts earlier to blunt another attack, though.
But I could also... Well, I had more.
Oh, you've got another Earth Arts. Never mind.
I think I got one as a reward previously, and then I used it, and then I picked up another one. Yeah, we haven't talked about some stuff. So yeah, and in fact, the Kojiro that Musashi faces in Shimosa is also a human being and kills her. She wins the duel, but dies of her wounds afterwards.
Brilliant.
And so it's just kind of interesting like that. And that's how eventually she becomes a servant, is because, like, you know, she dies. Like, the entire time you're spending with her in Shimosa, she's a human being, but she's basically been gifted this incredibly powerful sword by the servant equivalent of like Senji Muramasa, the famous sword maker, who's also spawned there with a particular goal. He's actually an agent of the counterforce in that one, which is kind of handy.
I'm kind of like, just for my own curiosity, how does Muramasa manifest in that situation? Because like Muramasa historically was a sword fighter. Like, he could use a sword, but he wasn't renowned as a particularly amazing sword fighter. He was solid, not flashy. He devoted most of his effort toward being a really good sword maker, not a good sword fighter. So it's almost like, is he a caster? Is he, like, what's going on here?
He's a saber.
Okay,
but
that also still makes sense.
Yeah, but what makes him kind of interesting is he's a sort of a pseudo-servant. Pseudo-servants are typically servants of a particular, like, who have manifested, but in the form of somebody else. And typically this is the way that they go, oh, you know, this is a reference to a character. They look like this because this is a character from, like, Fate Stay Night, for example. Like, Ishtar manifests in the form of Rin, which is really funny. because obviously like Ishtar is very fond of wealth and gems, and Rin's entire thing is gems as well. They say it's like, oh, this was like she took in the form of a Mesopotamian priestess of the time and stuff. It's like, no, that's Rin. That's Rin. You can't trick us. In the case of Muramasa, he actually takes the form of Shuro, the protagonist of Fate's Stay Night, because he himself has a little bit of magecraft involved in the creation of like certain things. And going any further will like devolve into massive spoilers for it. Needless to say, they have an affinity and they come together like that. There are some cases where the servant is just too fucking lazy and picks somebody out and actually lets that person be the primary personality, while they sort of sit in there and provide the magical energy powers and stuff like that. They're still a servant, but they're like, essentially That's the
funniest way to do this, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, because the entire cosmology of Fate is really interesting in that you have these heroic concepts and so forth. It's in this throne or whatever, and then they're given the chance to exist again after death in the context of this specific conflict where they're important and blah 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 blah. And the idea that some number of them would basically just be like, no, I'm good.
Well, they can refuse to be summoned, so they're happy to get summoned, but they're also happy to let somebody else do it. And one of the most famous examples of that...
funny! How is that not hilarious?
Oh, it is hilarious, but it's also entirely in character if you think about who they are. Zhuzhe Liang, for example, is one of them.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Very much scans, doesn't it? And interestingly enough, he uses as the sort of the person he just sort of sits in is another character that I've already mentioned, El Malloy II. Essentially the second-rate, third-rate mage, who is more like a Sherlock Holmes of magecraft, who's able to sort of, figure out the intricacies of like magecraft just by looking at it and bring out like the best in everybody, but also a lot of like older schools of mages fear him because the more everyone knows about the like magecraft, the less effective it is.
Yeah, the less it works. Because it becomes a science rather than true magic.
Yeah, so he's considered to be like as he says himself, if I got into a fight with literally any mage, I'd fucking die. But none of them really want to like get on his bad side because he could quite literally explain their power into the drain if they fucked with him. So they're just all like, okay, stop. He's actually used that as like a negotiating technique to stop a fight with someone before. They're like threatening him, and he just starts explaining how their magecraft works to a room full of people.
There's a freaking 80s movie about how like a chemist basically gets turned into a dragon via isekai, and he ends up explaining dragons as just like, hey, you're actually breathing fire because your digestion actually sucks enormous amounts of ass, and you're eating rocks to basically help your digestion, and it causes this insanely volatile mix, and it's just you having super bad heartburn.
Hey,
And the primary enemy is just like this evil sorcerer who just keeps doing all of this weird shit.
And he develops antacids.
Yeah, it just devolves into him screaming like fields of science at him. Chemistry, biology, neurology, and zoology. And the mage is just like holding his ears, going, "Stop!
You're ruining the fun."
I forget what the name of that is. Somebody could help me out in the comments. I'm sure that has touched a nerve with somebody.
This spider is just getting stomped on.
I love the way Li Shuwen moves.
He's very clunky to use, but boy, he hits well. Also, like, against the big monsters, he just juggles the fuck out of them.
Like,
And I
it's
miss.
just... everything is super explosive movement, and everything is deliberate. I love the way he moves.
Yeah. So basically, you'll have examples where the servant will just like for like power level reasons hop into like a more more like humans or like actual person form. Then there's the ones who will manifest, seeing somebody else they have an affinity with through the piloting. And then there's the ones who are kind of like a meld between, like the main heroine, we could say, of Fate Grand Order, aside from like the female option protagonist, is Mash, or Mashu. She was originally going to be called Matthew, and then they kind of decided on that instead. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
I'm lacking a lot of context there, so I'm just trusting you on this one.
Yeah, but she is an artificial life form, pretty much like a homunculus. Only I think they did more with her to sort of make her a bit more substantial, a little bit more of a blank slate. It's kind of weird to sort of explain, because apparently the way they did it was considered to be extremely abhorrent by like most of the servants that got summoned like when she was around. That includes like Da Vinci. She was just like, when I heard what you guys did, heard what they did, I yelled at them for like a good day. Like, but like she actually has Galahad, the servant Galahad, when someone looked at her and went, okay, and fused with her. So she's a demi-servant as a result of that. But yeah, so there's lots of, so she's kind of like, she's still like a person and can live and die, but she has like the power of a servant within her. So there's all sorts of like weird ways like servants can interact with people. I suppose in a way Kaya is like technically a demi-servant right now.
Right, I was going to bring that up actually.
Yeah, and there we go. Summoning the aid of these guys will actually help remove some of these enemies from the field as well, which is really nice. This is like a big knockdown like brawl. It's so good.
This is very much a gangs all here sort of situation. Yes, no. The literal only reason why you would say no to that is you don't have 2 affinity bars to spend.
Yeah, and then you go to your menu, you get the affinity,
and then you go do it again.
And then you do it again.
What are you, crazy? The action economy, man. Like I feel like everybody has played enough strategy games to understand the value of being in multiple places at once.
Look how strong Iori is right now.
My 9-year-old nieces who have like, I think they've played all of 3 games in their lives. I would trust them to make that equivalency.
Yeah, his hand looks so weird when he puts the swords away like that.
I told you, right? Like, you pay attention to his hand, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Jeez, that is so weird. I love it. But so much to learn away of the 2 swords, dude. You've literally mastered.
He says, resheathing his swords with his 3rd and 4th fingers.
It's like, dude, like they call what Kojiro could do like second magic. Like, fucking Jesus Christ, Iori has no idea how crazy he is.
Give yourself a break, all right? You're fine.
But yeah, like the energy we're getting from all these nodes is making Iori like fucking strong too. Let's get Archer in here.
Hey.
Of course we're bringing Rogue Archer along. We'll find out who this fella is in New Game Plus. Don't worry, everyone.
I still don't have the slightest clue, and I don't think I'm going to.
I'm going to love talking about like this character with you and like where they come from, and
I'm looking forward to it because his is clearly a story I haven't heard before, and I know I've made multiple allusions to it at certain points, but like I want to impress on the listeners that like what I do for my idle moments, like if I'm playing like an idle game, I'm just like gathering in Final Fantasy 14, or if I'm driving in the car or anything like that. I'm not listening to music. I'm not listening to the radio. What I'm listening to is audiobooks. Like I routinely go through between 25 and 35 audiobooks a year, just because that's where I'm at, right? Like that's what I do. So if there is a story I haven't heard, I'm generally very interested in hearing it.
Well, I am definitely going to be telling it to you because there is a lot. Like we've delved into a lot of Chinese stuff, a lot of Japanese stuff.
戻ってきたぞ、より。
We do have some ties, thanks to Ushigozen in particular, to India. But the big thing right now is that we've not really talked much. We had a little bit of a conversation about some of the funny stuff of like the gods in India and everything like that. And we're definitely going to get to talk about some of like their stories and everything, because I did say he's from a story that I would say is like India's version of Troy, just in terms of like scale, heroes, death. A lot goes on, so yeah, Rogue Archer is going to be a treat to talk about.
I do have some concept of like where that could be.
Yeah,
because there's a number of historical figures in India that followed something of the Charlemagne route, in that they were outstanding warriors that very suddenly became law-abiding pacifists after they won. I believe his name was Ashoka, who's the cat who did that over most of the subcontinent. And then suddenly became a pacifist, and you would kind of be like, right, yeah, whatever. You're kind of a hypocrite or whatever. If he hadn't also been instrumental in advancing the concept of zero, which it's difficult to talk to like a lot of modern learners about this in a lot of ways, because like it was genuinely a decades to almost century-long argument on whether or not zero was a number, because zero is supposed to be the concept of non-existence. How can the concept of non-existence anything, let alone a number? But
yeah, it makes sense, you know, and like your brain goes, oh yeah, we learned about zero in school. It's like, yeah, but someone had to think about whether or not that was even something that was possible before we were actually able. They had to prove it.
The
Math doesn't work if we didn't prove this bit.
Exactly. Like the entire point of math is that it is a language that very, very, very precisely describes the relationship between two things, right? Like you can say these two things are close or far, but can you say they are two away? Two what? And being able to say they are zero away was a real thing. So having Indian leaders basically put their huge political weight behind this was a boon to the entirety of civilization, beyond them.
Yeah, so he's allowed to become a pacifist after beating everyone.
He's allowed to become a pacifist if he gives us zero, okay? Like, I'm willing to give him...
and on that note, next time we allow ourselves to become pacifists for this run, because we are coming to the end of Fate Samurai Remnant on the first run-through we're doing. So, that's it for now. Next time, we're facing Chiemon, we're facing Lancer, we are storming Edo Castle. And boy howdy, we are in for a wonderful treat in terms of final bosses. I've been the last Robokai.
And I have been Cool Guy.
We look forward to seeing you all for the next episode of Fate Samurai Remnant. See you next time.